Hi, welcome to the Crypto Republic. Before we dive in, if you're serious about staying ahead in this once-in-a-lifetime financial shift, make sure you like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Republic. What if I told you that XRP you see on the public exchanges isn't the whole story? What if behind the curtain, away from retail eyes, a different XRP market has been operating? One that institutions, governments, and enterprises have been quietly testing. This isn't speculation. It's a divide between private XRP and public XRP, a financial split that explains why the price has remained suppressed, why global adoption has been accelerating in the shadows. Today, I'm going to reveal how the two sides connect, why Ripple built it this way, and most importantly, what happens when private liquidity finally collides with the public market. Think of this like the early internet. Back in the 1980s, universities and militaries had access to closed private networks. Ordinary people had no clue that a world-changing technology was being battle-tested behind closed doors. Then in the 1990s, the public internet was unleashed, and the repricing of everything from communications to commerce happened almost overnight. That's exactly where XRP sits today. Public XRP equals the version you and I can buy, trade, and speculate on, while private XRP equals permissioned ledgers, side chains, and test environments where institutions move sums that dwarf anything retail has ever touched. And here's the kicker. The moment those two rails merge, the repricing event could shock even the most die-hard XRP holders. The obvious question is, why two systems? Why not let institutions just use the same public ledger we all see? The answer is compliance and regulation. Ripple as a regulated entity cannot risk settlement flows being tainted by illegal transactions, not even by an accident. For banks, governments, and payment providers, one illicit transaction in a trillion is still unacceptable. So Ripple built private environments, sandboxes, walled gardens, permissioned domains. In these zones, participants are fully vetted, like passengers passing through airport security. Once inside, liquidity can flow freely. This wasn't just about safety. It was about building trust at the institutional level. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room for a second. The astronomical numbers reported on private ledgers. Snapshots have shown XRP being tested at hundreds of thousands of dollars per coin. At first glance, that sounds insane, like Fantasyland. But step back. Those prices aren't predictions. They're stress tests. They simulate what happens when XRP carries the weight of trillions in settlement. It's no different than pressure testing a dam before filling it with water. The extreme numbers aren't meant for retail eyes. They're proof XRP can handle global scale. Here's a historical parallel. In 1971, President Nixon closed the gold window, ending the ability for foreign governments to convert dollars into gold. That single policy shift created a divide between the real underlying value of gold and publicly tradable dollar system. For years, the public only saw the dollar. Behind the scenes, central banks were recalibrating to a new standard. When the dam finally broke, gold repriced dramatically. XRP's private versus public divide echoes that same kind of hidden pressure. So why is this coming to a head now? Because the missing piece, legal clarity, is finally locking into place. Market structure bills are advancing, defining XRP as a commodity, not as a security. That removes the last excuse institutions have had for waiting on the sidelines. With permission domains live, with compliance locked down, and with regulatory green lights imminent, Ripple's two worlds, private and public, are about to converge. So picture this. A dam has been filling for years, hidden from public view. Behind it, trillions of dollars in potential have been tested, measured, and contained. When the gates open, the water doesn't trickle, it surges. This is what happens when private XRP flows meet the public ledger. Order books expand. Liquidity deepens. It's not hype. It's a systematic repricing mechanism. And here's the irony. Most retail investors will think XRP suddenly moved. They'll panic buy after the fact, just like people scrambled to buy internet stocks in 1999 or gold in the late 1970s. But those who understand the private versus public split, those who saw the dress rehearsal behind the curtain, will already have been positioned when the curtain lifts. This is how wealth transfer events happen always. Quietly, patiently, and then all of a sudden at once. So you remember Blockbuster? They laughed at streaming. Netflix built its rails quietly in the background. By the time the shift was obvious, it was too late for Blockbuster to adapt. That's what's happening here exactly in finance. Legacy banks have resisted XRP rails for years, but once the first movers step in, the pressure on competitors become overwhelming. No bank, no payment provider, no enterprise wants to be the blockbuster of finance. That's the domino effect Ripple has been preparing for. And don't forget this. This isn't regional. It's global. Ripple has been working with central banks, payment corridors, and enterprises across Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Americas. The moment clarity arrives in one jurisdiction, adoption accelerates everywhere. The gears of the machine finally lock together, and the feedback loop begins. Adoption equals liquidity. Liquidity equals confidence. Confidence leads to more adoption. So here's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. The XRP you see publicly, the dollar-denominated token trading at retail prices, is only half the story. The private side has been running simulations, stress testing trillions, preparing for a world where XRP isn't just another digital asset, but the bridge asset at the heart of global sentiment. And now with legal clarity, permission domains, and institutional readiness, the two worlds are about to merge. Think of it like a play. The rehearsals are over. The stage is set. The audience is seated. And the curtain is finally rising. When that happens, the market will have no choice but to reprice XRP to reflect its true role. The question is, will you be ready when the switch is flipped? If this opened your eyes, smash that like button, ring the bell, leave a comment with your thoughts, turn on notifications, and most importantly, subscribe to the Crypto Republic, bringing you the truth about XRP, global banking moves, and the wealth transfer already unfolding. Don't just watch history happen. Stay informed, stay ahead, stay in the Republic.